This is Mo Mackey, and you are watching Studio Time. Today, we're going to talk about studio etiquette. There's certain do's and don'ts in a studio some people just might not be aware of. And that's all good because, some people are new to the studio. They have no idea. They've never been there before. But it's up to people like me to educate you so that you know, just in case you don't know. Let's start with this. If you happen to be somebody that partakes in smoking, any kind of smoking, you might want to call that studio and ask them, is it okay to smoke inside of the studio? And they'll let you know that it is a smoke friendly studio or not. You know, some studios have areas in the back, like for instance, my studio. I have a gazebo, well, not a gazebo area, but there's an area like said gazebo out behind the studio where you can do what you like out there. You could drink, smoke, whatever. Just don't bring it into the studio because some engineers are very particular about their gear. This stuff here costs money and they don't want it to get all smoky and stuff. Other engineers don't care because they smoke too and they smoke in their studios. So it's all good for them. But it's just something that you want to ask for and just don't expect, hey, I could smoke in the studio because it's a studio. Everybody that records there smokes. Don't assume that because it's not always the case. Another thing to be aware of when you're going to the studio is maybe you don't want to bring your full entourage. I understand some people need a muse or they need somebody to help them as far as, getting their lyrics straight, like writers and all that good stuff. And it's good to bring those people in, the people that are focused on getting you the best results. But when you have people there that aren't even paying attention to what you're doing or there to help you at all, and they're just talking and there's like 16 different conversations and people laughing and stuff, guess what? That interferes with the engineer. And you're probably not going to get the best result from that engineer that night because there's too much stuff going on and it's driving him nuts. Some engineers are really nice and probably won't say anything about it. Other engineers, not so nice. So it's good to make sure that the people that you are bringing there in the studio with you are there to get the job done and help you out. Otherwise, it's hurting you, it's hurting the engineer, and it's damn sure hurting both of y'all's pockets. Another thing that you want to be aware of is your time. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what's going on. If you spent 3 hours in the studio just to get an intro down, you're going to pay those full 3 hours. That's on you that you kept messing up the intro, not the engineer. So make sure you have your stuff together before you get in the studio. That way, you're not wasting a lot of money and you're not wasting your time. The engineer don't care that you're wasting his time because he's getting paid for that time. Just keep that in mind. One of the main things I see, and I've seen over the years, is that guys don't pay attention to their time. And I'm not talking about the time that they're in the studio. I'm talking about when they're supposed to be at the studio and they show up late. Because even if you show up late, you're still going to get charged for that time. The time doesn't start when you get there. The time starts when it was booked. And those are the rules. That's studio rule number one. Like, your book time starts at that time. So make sure you're there at that time. Otherwise, you're paying for nothing. You're paying for everybody to sit around. And this one really isn't studio etiquette. It's more of a tip to all you artists out there. When you record, or you get into the studio and you get into the zone or whatever, and you've been there for a minute, you've been working on this song for maybe 4 hours, 4.5 hours, maybe even longer than that. Everybody's zoning to it. Everybody loves it or whatnot. Make sure you give yourself time away from the song for about a day or two, maybe even, just the next morning, and listen to it again just to make sure that it wasn't a bunch of hype and everybody was, I don't know, hype off of something that made the music sound dope at that time. Then when you listen to it the next morning, it's not all that great. Just make sure to give it another listen again when things are a little more calm and you chill and you got time to, pay a little more attention to what's going on. And then, maybe it is good. Maybe it's great. And hey, that's good. But maybe it isn't all that great. That second listen might help you. You might need to, book another hour or two to make some corrections. But anyway, that's all I got. This is Mo Mackey, Studio Time. I'll catch you on the next one.